My dear friends, in the quiet depths of your own being, there lies a truth so profound that it shapes every moment of your existence, every experience that unfolds before you. It is simply this: your opinion of yourself is the most important viewpoint you will ever hold. Not the fleeting judgments of others, nor the shadows cast by circumstance, but the silent conviction you carry within, the image you have formed of who you are. This is no mere fancy or passing thought, it is the very foundation upon which your world is built. Pause now and consider: have you ever wondered why some men walk through life as kings, while others, possessing the same gifts, linger in the role of beggars? It is not fate or fortune that decides, but the inner persuasion, the assumed state from which they view themselves. Let this truth settle upon you like a gentle mist, drawing you inward to a place of stillness, where curiosity awakens not with clamor, but with the calm assurance that what you discover here may forever alter the course of your days. For in understanding this, you touch the essence of creation itself. Now, let us explore this truth more deeply, allowing it to unfold naturally within your awareness. You see, the opinion you hold of yourself is not a static thing, frozen in time like a statue in a garden. It is a living, breathing assumption, a state of consciousness from which all things flow. Imagine, if you will, a man who sees himself as worthy, as one who naturally attracts abundance and harmony. He does not strive or beg for these things, he simply assumes them as his rightful inheritance. His world conforms to this inner vision, for the outer is but a reflection of the inner. Yet, so many wander through life holding a lesser view, believing themselves limited, unworthy, or at the mercy of external forces. They think of their desires as distant dreams, something to be chased or earned through toil. But I tell you, this is the great illusion. The foundational principle is this: you must shift from thinking of your desire to thinking from it, as if it were already fulfilled. Feel now, in this moment, what it would be like to hold an exalted opinion of yourself, not as a hope for tomorrow, but as a present reality. Suppose you are the one who commands respect, who moves with quiet authority, whose very presence invites opportunity. Do not force this feeling. Allow it to arise gently as dawn breaks over the horizon. This shift is not born of effort or willpower, but of imagination, that divine faculty within you. Imagination is the womb of all creation, where states are conceived and brought forth into being. When you imagine yourself as you wish to be, you are occupying a new state of consciousness. It is here that the magic happens, for consciousness is the only reality. What you are conscious of being, that you become. Consider the stories of old, where men transform their lives not by battling the world, but by changing their inner conversation. A beggar who dares to assume the consciousness of a prince finds the world rearranging itself to match his assumption. So it is with you. Your opinion of yourself is your assumed identity, and it molds the clay of experience. If you persist in seeing yourself as small, the world will echo that smallness back to you. But if you dare to assume a greater self, one filled with confidence and grace, then circumstances will bend to confirm it. This is the law, immutable and eternal. Let us dwell a little longer on this foundational truth, for repetition deepens understanding, like water carving stone over time. The core of it lies in awareness, becoming aware of the state you are occupying. Observe yourself inwardly. What is the silent opinion you hold? Is it one of limitation or of boundless potential? Many live unaware, reacting to the shadows on the wall, believing them to be the cause rather than the effect. But you, my friend, can choose differently. Begin by gently revising your self-concept. In the quiet hours before sleep claims you, imagine scenes that imply your elevated opinion of self. See others responding to you as one who is esteemed, feel the naturalness of it as if it has always been so. This is not wishing or hoping. It is assuming the end, living from the fulfillment. The desire is not out there to be pursued, it is within, already yours in consciousness. As you practice this inner shift, you will notice a subtle change. The old opinions, those worn-out garments of doubt and fear, begin to fall away. You no longer think of success or love as something to acquire. You think from them as inherent parts of your being. Faith enters here, not as blind belief, but as loyalty to your assumption. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. It is knowing in the depths of your soul that what you assume is true, regardless of appearances. Appearances are but echoes. They lag behind the inner cause. Persist in your new state and the echoes will change. This is the beauty of the principle. It requires no outer action first, only inner occupancy. Occupy the state of the one who holds a high opinion of himself, and watch as the world conforms. Let this idea sink deeper still. Suppose a man desires health, yet he constantly affirms his weakness. His opinion of himself is one of frailty, and so his body reflects it. But let him assume the consciousness of vitality, feeling the strength coursing through him as a present fact, and persistence will bring it forth. The same holds for all desires, wealth, relationships, purpose. Your viewpoint of self is the lens through which all is seen. Distort it with low assumptions, and the picture is marred. Clarify it with noble ones, and clarity reigns. Do not concern yourself with how it will happen. The how is not your business. Your role is to assume the end, to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. In this way, you align with the creative power within. We have touched upon the foundation, and now it builds naturally. But remember, this is not a technique to be mechanically applied. It is a way of being, a return to your true nature. You are consciousness itself, the I am, and what you attach to that I am becomes your reality. I am worthy, I am confident, I am at peace. These are not affirmations to repeat endlessly, but states to inhabit. Dwell in them, and they dwell in you. As you go about your day, carry this awareness lightly, like a secret known only to you. The shift from thinking of to thinking from is subtle yet profound. It is the difference between beggar and king. In the stillness of your mind, let these words resonate. Your opinion of yourself is indeed your most important viewpoint, for it determines all others. Embrace this truth and let it guide you inward, where true power resides. And now, as this truth takes root within you, let us carry it forward into the quiet rhythm of your daily life, where it may be lived rather than merely understood. For understanding alone is like seed lying upon stone. It must be pressed into the soil of persistent awareness if it is to bear fruit. You have glimpsed the principle, that your opinion of yourself is the secret viewpoint from which all else is seen, and that to change your world, you must change the state you occupy, thinking not of the wish, but from its fulfillment. Yet many, having tasted this knowledge, grow restless when the outer world lingers in its old forms. They wonder why the mirror has not yet reflected the new face. Here then is where gentleness and loyalty enter, loyalty to the unseen reality you have assumed. Observe yourself through the hours of the day, not with strain or judgment, but with the quiet interest of one who watches a river flow. Notice the inner conversations you hold about yourself. These silent words, these unspoken feelings, are the threads from which your garment of fate is woven. When something occurs that seems to contradict your new assumption, when a door appears closed or a voice speaks slightingly, do not rush to defend your desire and argument with the world. Return instead to the inner chamber. Ask yourself gently, what am I now assuming about myself? Am I seeing myself as one who is rejected or as one who was always guided to the open way? The moment you detect the old opinion rising like a familiar shadow, do not fight it. Simply turn your attention to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel again the quiet certainty of being the one you have chosen to be. This inner turning is the true persistence. It is faithfulness to your chosen state. You will find that the world speaks to you constantly through circumstances, through the words of others, through chance remarks overheard. These are not verdicts pronounced upon you. They are only echoes of states you have occupied, some perhaps long ago. Do not accept them as final truth. If the echo is discordant, let it pass without resistance, knowing it is the dying note of an old song. Then, in the silence that follows, resume the melody of your new assumption. Loyalty here is not rigid effort. It is a soft, unwavering return to the feeling of being already that which you desire to be. As you grow faithful in this, the echoes change. People begin to speak differently to you. Opportunities appear where none were before. The very atmosphere around you takes on a new quality, all because the inner viewpoint has remained steady. Consider how natural this is. A man who truly believes himself to be respected does not need to demand respect. It is given freely. One who knows himself to be loved does not plead for affection. It flows toward him. So it is with every quality you would express. The persistence required is not a struggle against the world, but a quiet refusal to return to the old state. When doubt whispers, when memory brings up past failures, do not engage in debate. Simply feel again the reality of the new self. Dwell in it until it feels more familiar than the old. This is the inner work, done in calmness, often unnoticed by the outer eye, yet mighty in its effect. And as the days pass, you will notice moments when the new opinion of yourself arises spontaneously. Someone compliments you, and instead of disbelief, there is quiet acceptance. A challenge appears, and instead of fear, there is poise. These are signs that the state is becoming natural, that you are no longer acting apart, but living from a deeper center. Do not seize upon these moments with excitement, lest you disturb the gentle flow. Let them come and go as naturally as breathing. Your task is only to remain loyal when the old tempts you to return. In the marketplace, in the quiet of home, in the midst of conversation, whenever the world presents its old picture, turn inwardly and rest in the new. This loyalty deepens with practice, yet it is never forced. It is like tending a fire. You do not strain to make it burn brighter. You simply add fuel when the flame lowers and shield it from sudden winds. So shield your assumption from the winds of contrary evidence by refusing to give them life and feeling. Hear the report, see the appearance, but give it no inner consent. Instead, return to the secret place where you know yourself aright. There, in that inner stillness, the opinion you hold of yourself grows firm, rooted not in circumstance, but in the eternal I am. As this faithfulness becomes your habit, something beautiful begins to happen. The need for deliberate return lessens. The new state arises more and more of itself. You walk through your days with a quiet assurance that does not announce itself, yet is felt by all. The inner conversation changes without effort. It now speaks in the tone of one who is established in worth and peace. Persistence has done its perfect work, not by force, but by gentle constancy. You have honored the unseen over the seen, and the seen now honors you. Let this awareness accompany you gently. There is no hurry, no strain, only the soft loyalty to the self you have chosen to be. In this loyalty lies all power, for it keeps the inner viewpoint clear and undisturbed. And as it remains undisturbed, the outer must conform, slowly perhaps at first, then with increasing grace, until one day you awaken to find the world speaking in perfect harmony with the opinion you have so faithfully held within. And now, as this gentle loyalty has become the quiet rhythm of your days, something deeper begins to stir within you, a sense of rest, a surrender that is not resignation, but the fullest acceptance of your true being. You have persisted in the inner viewpoint. You have returned again and again to the feeling of the one you have chosen to be. And in this persistence, the state has ripened. It no longer requires constant tending, for it has taken root in the depths of your consciousness. The opinion you hold of yourself is no longer a garment you put on with effort. It has become your very skin, natural and effortless. Here, in this quiet place, the embodiment begins, not as a sudden thunder, but as the soft unfolding of a flower that has long been gathering the sun. You awaken one morning, or perhaps it comes in an ordinary moment amid the day, and you notice that the old questions have fallen silent. There is no longer a need to ask whether you are worthy, whether the desire will manifest, whether the world will conform. These inquiries belong to the one who still stood outside the state, looking toward it. Now you dwell within it. The opinion of yourself as whole, as complete, as one who moves in harmony with life, this has stabilized. It is no longer an assumption you maintain, it is the awareness from which you live. Others may speak of striving, of techniques, of waiting, but you know a deeper truth. The work was always the gentle occupation of the end, and now the end occupies you. In this embodiment, there is a profound surrender, not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of one who has come home. You release the last faint traces of concern about how or when the outer world will fully reflect the inner. You rest in the knowing that it must, for consciousness is the only reality, and what you are conscious of being is the substance of your experience. The bridge of incidents, those seemingly chance events that lead from the old to the new, forms itself without your planning. Doors open quietly, paths clear, faces turn toward you with recognition of the light you now carry. All this happens not because you have forced it, but because you have ceased to oppose it with doubt. The inner viewpoint is clear, undisturbed, and the outer must mirror its clarity. Feel this rest now, this quiet confidence that needs no proclamation. It is the peace of one who knows his identity not as a fleeting role, but as the eternal I am expressing itself through a new and lovely state. There is no strain here, no watching for signs, no anxiety about persistence, for persistence has fulfilled its purpose and dissolved into being. You walk through your hours with an inner stillness that others sense, though they cannot name it. Challenges may still appear, but they no longer shake the foundation, for the foundation is no longer built upon circumstance. It is built upon the rock of self-knowing. And in the evenings, when the world grows quiet, you may sit in gentle reflection, not to revise or to assume anew, but simply to enjoy the sweetness of being. The desire fulfilled is no longer a goal. It is the air you breathe. The high opinion of yourself is not something you defend or prove. It is the silent truth from which all action flows. Love, abundance, harmony. These are not things you seek. They are the natural radiation of the state you now embody. Others are drawn to you, not by your words, but by the unspoken certainty you carry. The world, once a mirror of old limitations, now reflects only the beauty of your inner persuasion. Let this embodiment deepen without haste. There is nothing more to achieve, only more to express. The opinion you hold of yourself, once carefully cultivated, now flows outward effortlessly, coloring every relationship, every circumstance with its quiet grace. You have become the living proof of the truth you once pondered. That man's concept of himself is the mold from which his world is cast. And having entered fully into the new concept, the world is reborn. Rest here, my friend. Rest in this inner certainty that asks nothing, proves nothing, yet lacks nothing. The journey was always inward, to the still point where you know yourself aright. And having arrived, there is only the gentle continuance of being, calm, complete, and forever at peace with what is. For what is now flows from the perfect viewpoint within. Let the silence hold you. Let the quiet confidence be your companion. Here, in this timeless now, all is well, and all is ever well. In the quiet depths of our existence, there is a truth so profound that it shapes every moment of our lives, yet it is often the most overlooked aspect of our being. This truth is simple. Your opinion of yourself is the most important viewpoint you will ever hold. It is the very foundation upon which your reality is constructed. While we often look to the external world, to our circumstances, our critics, or our successes to define us, these are merely reflections of an internal state. The core of your experience is dictated by the silent conviction you carry within, the image you have formed of who you are. This is not a static or idle thought. It is a living, breathing assumption from which all things flow. Consider the vast difference between individuals who seem to walk through life with an air of natural authority and those who, despite having the same talents, linger in the shadows of limitation. The divergence does not lie in fate or fortune, but in the inner persuasion of the soul. One assumes the state of being worthy, and the world conforms to that vision. The other assumes a state of lack, and the world reflects that back with equal fidelity. This realization draws us toward a place of stillness where we can observe the internal architecture of our lives. When we understand that our consciousness is the only true reality, we touch the very essence of creation. To truly transform our lives, we must master the shift from thinking of our desires to thinking from them. This is the great secret of manifestation. Most people spend their lives looking at their dreams from a distance, treats them as goals to be chased, or rewards to be earned through toil. However, to think from the fulfillment is to occupy the state as if it were already a present reality. It is the difference between a beggar dreaming of a palace and a king dwelling within one. This shift is not born of willpower or struggle, but of the divine faculty of imagination. Imagination is the womb of all creation. It is where states are conceived and brought into being. When you dare to assume a greater version of yourself, one filled with confidence, grace, and abundance, you are not merely wishing, you are occupying a new level of consciousness. This process requires a radical form of honesty and awareness. We must become observers of our own inner conversations. Many of us are unaware of the silent scripts we run, often rooted in doubt or unworthiness. We react to the shadows on the wall, believing the external world to be the cause of our feelings when it is actually the effect. By revising our self-concept, especially in the quiet moments before sleep, we can begin to plant new seeds in the subconscious mind. By imagining scenes that imply our success and feeling the naturalness of that success, we align ourselves with the creative power of the universe. However, the path to embodiment is not always immediate. The external world often lingers in its old forms, presenting what can be described as echoes of past states. This is where loyalty becomes essential. When the mirror of life shows us a reflection that contradicts our new assumption, when doors seem closed or challenges arise, we must not retreat into our old way of thinking. Loyalty is not a rigid effort. It is a soft, unwavering return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled. We must learn to see the world's contradictions as dying notes of an old song, giving them no inner consent. By remaining faithful to the unseen reality, we allow the bridge of incidents to form, leading us naturally toward the manifestation of our vision. As we practice this inner turning, the old garments of doubt begin to fall away. We no longer see success or love as things to acquire, but as inherent parts of our being. This is the stage of embodiment. Here, the state we once had to work to maintain becomes our very skin. It becomes natural, effortless, and silent. We no longer need to affirm our worth because we are that worth. In this state of rest, we find a profound surrender. It is not the surrender of defeat, but the surrender of one who has come home. We stop watching for signs because we know the end is already certain. Ultimately, the journey is always inward. You are the I am, the consciousness that attaches itself to various states. Whether you attach yourself to the state of I am limited or I am abundant, the law remains immutable. What you are conscious of being, you become. By clarifying your inner viewpoint and holding a noble opinion of yourself, you clarify your entire world. The outer must conform to the inner. It is a law as certain as gravity. When the internal viewpoint is clear and undisturbed, the world eventually speaks in perfect harmony with the beauty you have faithfully held within. Rest in this certainty. There is no hurry and no strain required to become who you truly are. By honoring the unseen reality and maintaining a high opinion of your own divine nature, you allow the light of your consciousness to illuminate every corner of your life. This is the true meaning of peace, knowing that you are the architect, the substance, and the witness of your own magnificent unfolding.